If you still have not written your signature book, it is not because you're too busy. It's also definitely not because you're incapable. It's because you're believing one of these 9 myths that we're going to unpack today. And before we go any further in this conversation, if it stings even just a little, go ahead and grab my Right Start guide at roseandpearl.net/get started. The link is in the show notes. It's the exact roadmap I walk my clients through as we build their signature books. And if you're further along and need strategy, you can book a free publishing strategy session with me, and we'll discern exactly where you are stuck. All right, let's dive in to today's episode. If we haven't met yet, I'm Dr. Carolyn Wiley, founder of Rose and Pearl Publishing. I help faith-driven CEOs turn their message into a signature book that builds authority, attracts aligned clients, and multiplies kingdom impact. And if you're watching this, you're already leading. You already have frameworks, you already have clients, and you already have revenue. What you don't have yet is a book that showcases that authority. So let's dismantle one myth at a time what is actually standing in your way. Myth number 1, I need more time. Spoiler alert, no, you don't. We all have 24 hours. You need a declared priority. Now, I understand that you have meetings and a team and you travel for work and you have a family. I had all of those same things while I wrote textbooks while leading over 100 employees during COVID, where we had to move classes online with an infant at home. In fact, my co-authors and I laugh that during each of our first 3 editions, one of us was pregnant or had just given birth. Time did not magically descend from heaven and tap us on the shoulder. We made writing a priority. High-capacity leaders allocate time. If your book matters as much as your next launch, it would already be in progress. If you need help structuring that time and getting clarity before you start, I want you to tune into next week's episode where we're going to talk with time strategist Lissa Figgins, and we're going to spend the entire episode destroying this very first myth because it is such a powerful lie that holds leaders back. Now, myth number 2. I need a bigger platform first. Now, this one has a little truth inside it, because if you want a traditional publishing deal, yes, platform size does actually matter. But do not underestimate the power of a book to build the very platform you think you need first. A book sharpens your message. It will clarify your framework and give your audience language to attach to. In fact, one of my clients landed her ideal keynote speaking invitation before her book even hit the market. Why? Because of her launch momentum and positioning. See, books create credibility before they create revenue. You do not wait for the platform to write the book. You use the book to help you build the platform. Myth number 3, traditional publishing is the only valid path. You know what? I used to believe this one myself. As a traditionally published author, I thought, well, Manhattan's approval is the gold standard. Until the Lord interrupted me one day with a question that just stopped me. If He had called me, who else's authority was I waiting for? You see, self-publishing done strategically is not lesser than traditional publishing. It becomes just another option. An option in many cases that's faster, more profitable, and more aligned, especially if you don't want your intellectual property owned or diluted by someone else. No, traditional publishing is actually no longer my favorite path. I'll talk about which one is my favorite path in another episode. But it is not the one most people assume. You see, waiting for permission is just procrastination dressed up in a fancy blazer. So myth number 4, self-published books aren't taken seriously. People say she literally wrote the book on it as a sign that this person is the ultimate authority. Culture still treats having a book published as the ultimate credibility marker. And here's what fascinates me. The highest signal of authority in academic settings, which is where I spent most of my life, is a dissertation. It's a book-length project required before someone is awarded the title doctor. I have one. It's as long as my college-level statistics textbook. You spend years researching it, writing it. You have to do all the formatting, submit it according to strict university guidelines, and it gets printed and archived. There's no Manhattan publishing deal involved. And yet once it exists, no one questions the authority of the person who wrote it. They become the ultimate authority on that topic. The credibility comes from the rigor and the articulation, not the publishing pathway. So why are Christian CEOs waiting for traditional validation before documenting the expertise that they already operate in every single day? You see, it's not that a book is self-published that erodes its credibility. It's what it looks like when an amateur does it. Someone who has not worked with or hired the professional expertise to raise the quality standards of their book to the same level of traditional offerings. You can hire the experts to make your book stand out in the market. Myth number 5. I'm not really an author. This one always makes me laugh because literally we were writing our 3rd edition of this statistics textbook that hundreds of thousands of students have used. And we looked at each other and thought, oh my gosh, we're authors. How is that possible? In fact, one of my co-author's husbands looked at her and said, hey, your full-time salary comes from book writing. When people ask what you do, you could say author. And at some point, this denial stopped sounding humble and actually started sounding ridiculous. And I see Christian CEOs constantly doing the same thing. You're leading rooms, you're teaching frameworks, you're guiding teams, you have 6- and 7-figure companies. You're operating at an expert level. You simply have not accepted that title in terms of the author yet. And you can be an author. You just have to decide you want to be. Myth number 6. Now is not the right time. I need to build my business more first. This one is so sneaky because it sounds discerning, smart even. But underneath, it's usually something much deeper that we don't want to admit. What if I start writing and I realize I don't know as much as I thought I did? What if I'm exposed as a fraud? What if I find out that I am the imposter that I secretly fear that I am? But here's what I know. Writing forces clarity. It forces structure and articulation. And yes, that can feel terrifying. And maybe your message isn't as clear as it could be, or that it will be after you write the book. You see, the process of writing might indeed show you gaps in your framework. It actually did for me. And my clients have benefited from that, not suffered, because now they have even better processes to follow than the one that generated multiple bestsellers before. So lean into the refinement. Don't flee from it. Myth number 7. What if people criticize me? Well, I hate to break it to you, but they will. That is no getting around it. There will be negative Amazon reviews. There will be TikTok commentary about what a terrible book you just wrote. I have been told that my own writing was boring in one review, and then the very next one says, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing writing I've ever heard. Visibility invites evaluation, and readers are not shy about their opinions. But hiding your assignment because someone might misunderstand you is not humility, it's fear. I mean, Jesus was perfect in all that he said and all that he did, and people still called for his death and succeeded. There is no way to avoid criticism, even if you are the perfect son of God. You see, you have to decide if obedience to God's call is greater than man's approval. And if criticism is the thing that's freezing you, book a strategy session with me at roseandpearl.net and let's talk through it. Because naming this often dissolves the very fear that's holding you back. Myth number 8, books don't actually grow a business. And I'll tell you, if you're looking at books purely from a royalty stream, you're misunderstanding the purpose of a book in business. Because books generate positioning. Positioning opens doors, speaking invitations, improves client perception, builds trust with readers. It opens media opportunities, pricing power. A book is a long-form articulation of your framework or the mindset shift needed to make the transformation that you offer. It is not just a product, it's an authority engine. And authority, stewarded well, grows a business far beyond what a single product ever could. So let's finally get to our last myth, myth number 9. I'll just write it later. I'm not saying no to the book. Now's not the right time. See, this is the sneakiest lie, because later becomes next year, and next year becomes when things slow down, and they never do. Leadership compounds. Responsibility will expand. And the enemy loves when powerful leaders stay unpublished, because unpublished leaders are easier to overlook and dismiss. They're easier to underestimate. Later is rarely about timing. It's about avoidance. So, what is the real reason you haven't yet written your book? When you strip away the excuses, the real reason most Christian CEOs delay writing their book is fear of stepping into more visibility, more vulnerability, more responsibility, more accountability. See, writing your signature book forces you to declare, this is what I believe. This is my framework. This is what I am building. And that level of clarity will change how the market sees you, responds to you, and what the market expects of you. A book doesn't just amplify your voice, it formalizes your mission. So do you really need to write a book? Well, if you're building a kingdom-centered business rooted in influence, frameworks, and intellectual property, the answer is absolutely yes. Not because everyone else is doing it, but because it is still the best credibility marker and business asset that you will ever generate. If you're at the beginning of deciding if a book is your next strategic move, grab the Right Start guide below. It will help you to define what your book actually is about and how to begin. It's the same roadmap that I walk my clients through. And if you are further along and circling the same idea for the 3rd year in a row, book a free strategy session with me. Let's stop circling and start structuring and moving forward. Your book is your power move, and it's time you made it. And if you know of another leader who needs to write their book, send them this episode as a sign that you are cheering them on and no longer willing to hear any of their excuses for why their book isn't done yet. Until next time, I'm Dr. Carolyn Wiley, and you have been watching The Published Pearl.